And I wanted to just do a very quick video showing not really a plant gift package, more or less. A really good friend of mine needed some help repotting her plants, and I'm gonna show you all of the plants and kind of just give a summation of what I did. So first, I did add some gifts. I gave her cuttings of this jade plant because it's such a low care plant, but it gets so big and beautiful. So that's what this is. And I repotted this snake plant of hers. The pot is pretty large actually, so she should be able to, when it's time, if and when this plant needs to be repotted again, she should be able to kind of just use the same pot, and that's was the thinking on that. She could pull it out and just add soil and use the same pot. But I also just added in some orchid bark because she had a lot of it, and so I put that in here to kind of help keep this plant straight for her, so she can use a Dracaena lemon lime. And it had a little bit of root rot, a little bit, but when she gave it to me, more or less, more of these leaves were kind of dying off on the lower stem, and so I repotted this plant, I believe, and just pulled off these leaves for her and put it in a larger pot. And so hopefully this one's going to do well. You'll notice these in a lot of the plants, and I tried to put one in each of these plants for her, and this will help her cut back on fungus gnats, which is a common problem and a problem I have, and these should hopefully help her plants grow better as well. So I put a couple extra in this container for her. Is actually from a plant gift that I gave her from a while ago, but some of the leaves were actually yellowing and dying, but then this plant had a whole new baby on the back here, and so I just pulled this out of the pot. I looked at the roots and they seem healthy to me, so I just pulled off one or two of the older leaves that were yellowing and dying, and I think that's kind of a common thing for plants, even though it can be a little off-putting. This plant is a rubber tree that she had, and it was in a pretty small pot, I believe, but I repotted it nonetheless, and this one has a lot of fungus gnats. So I added also some sticky tapes, and again, the copper wiring to the plant. This plant is a Dracaena Jenny Craig. I also gave this plant to her quite a while ago. I think I repotted it for her, but it does have some fungus gnats that are making themselves known. So I also added sticky tape to this one as well. She wasn't sure what it was. This is a Croton Picasso's paintbrush, and you'll notice for some of these plants they have little labels in them. I added a label just so she knows what it is, and I repotted it from those really tiny 2-inch pots to this, which is a 3 or 4-inch pot, but it's actually a really pot. This is in this box are 4 orchids that she had growing, and they were all in one large pot, and so I did notice some root rot because the pot was overwatered. The roots were actually sitting in water a little bit, and she wanted me to just take that and put each of these in its own pot and so that's what I did. She had the bloom stems on them, and they were on, they were attached to these little sticks. And actually what I did was cut them. I did some research, and I don't own orchid, but I did do some research and found out that you can just cut it off. So I cut them off, and then I got some orchid pots and put each of her orchids in their own pot. So all 4 of them look like this. And she can take a look at this. I'm not sure. It seems like some of these might be thirsty. I'm not sure how often you water orchids, so I have no clue. But I do know they were a teeny bit overwatered. So for the roots, well, what I actually did was treat the roots with peroxide as well, because there was the overwatering issue, and I was afraid that the roots would rot. So I got the peroxide on them. For the most part, the orchids themselves still look really healthy to me. This one looks like the least healthy. I'll just show you another one. I think that what needs to, she'll just have to keep her eye on the roots, I think, because some of these roots are healthy, some of them don't look so healthy. And I hope she's not gonna be mad at me. They were sitting in water, so yeah, I just treated the roots with the peroxide. But I packed these up last week, and in looking over them again, I'm thinking that this one probably needs some rehab. But I'm gonna just bring this to her and see if she can rehab it. It's not dead. It still has at least one healthy root, which you can see in the front. But there are some roots in here that don't look, that are dead. So it's that one. And just to be polite, I'll show you the other orchids. So we have this one here. I mean, I'm looking at it now. If I were her, I would you know what, I think I'm gonna keep these orchids and just take them out again, cut off all the dead roots, and repot them in the fresh orchid bark that's dry, and do that for her. So I think I'm just gonna keep this box. Okay, actually. Moving on, this is a Yersinia pothos and a neon pothos combination that I gave her probably, I don't know how many months ago, but it's doing well, and all it needed was to be repotted. I'm putting that back in that pot with the bulbs because they're fine. So anyway, so I repotted the Yersinia pothos, and since it had grown quite long, I cut off this pothos and put it in a pot of water, and it looks like quite a bit of it has actually rooted already. So that's the Yersinia pothos and the grain pothos, and apparently they grow quite quickly. So this I'm going to give to her. And what I also did, this is just the last part, because she had extra orchid bark, I have a bag of it to go back to her. But I'm gonna hold on to this with her orchids until I can finish getting them done. The last thing that I did was just to wash all of her pots and return them to her. So just if you see, this is where the orchids were, and Actually, this pot doesn't have any drainage, so that's probably why they were sitting in the water a little bit. So it was very smart and timely of her to ask that they be separated. So anyway, that's the last thing that I did, was just to wash her pots. And just FYI, if someone asks me to help them with any plant, I always keep their pots and clean them with soapy water and bleach, and I return them to them. So that means that this bin is ready to go back to her, and I'm just gonna hold on to the orchids a little bit longer. But and the purpose of this video is just because I wanted you to see kind of some of the stuff that I do with plants. So they're not all for me. A lot of times I just try to help other people, and just so that everyone's in the know, if they did need help with their plants, that of course I would take them and try to help them. Closer bit of a look at what's going back to her. So she has all these things coming back to her, and they look healthy and beautiful to me. That's actually. So this should be on the way, and thank you for checking out this video. I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.